So, welcome people again to the podcast. Today we're here with Michael Castaneda. He's a reseller. He's in the retail arbitrage industry, but I'm going to let Michael introduce himself. I think he's going to do a better job than me.
No, thank you so much for allowing me to be a part of your podcast. This is so awesome. My name is Michael Castaneda, and I do retail arbitrage. I mostly sell women's fashion on eBay and Poshmark, and I sell books on Amazon FBA, and right now FBM, fulfilled by merchant.
Oh,
I focus mostly on clothing and books, those two things, and nothing else.
nice. I've seen your videos on TikTok. That's how I found you. So, how long have you been doing this reselling stuff, and how you got started?
Well, I started, as I mentioned to you before, my wife and I used to live in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania,
Mhm.
and we weren't really happy there. I wasn't happy with my job that I was at before we left and everything. So in December of 2018, we decided we were going to move to California. And so I started just selling things around the house around then. And it
So,
wasn't until
so you just said, okay, let's move and let's sell everything and move, or what was the idea?
well, more or less, yeah. We saved up a lot to get married almost 2 years ago, and then after that, we were like, "What's the next step?" And I wasn't happy at my job. My wife wasn't really happy at her job, so I quit working at a nonprofit and I started my own pet care business, and that still wasn't like fulfilling enough. We
Mhm.
were like, "What is it that we want to do?" We realized we're young, we don't have kids. We've always wanted. My wife is a professional dancer. She wanted to come to LA and try the entertainment industry. She also writes children's books as well. And so she just wanted to kind of jump in on that and start fresh.
Mm.
So we were kind of like, what can we do to start fresh? And moving across the country was the answer. And we absolutely love, I was mentioning the weather earlier, just
Mm.
like that simple thing of not having to walk through like trash every
Yeah.
single day is just very relieving. And a part of us wanting to move across the country was like, well, we got to get rid of a lot of stuff. Like,
Mm.
how do we do that? And so, I kind of always was interested in reselling. I'd sell things on Craigslist here and there when I was in college. I'd, sell things on, Let Go and just apps that were around. And I tried eBay, but it was always really complicated.
Mm.
But I figured I was like, this is the best time to just start learning how to sell things. And if I enjoy it, I'm just going to keep doing it. And that's basically what happened.
Okay. Yeah, nice. And so at the beginning, you said, okay, we have to move. Let's sell everything. So what kind of items did you sell the first time when you started like moving out? And was it hard, or was it like
Yep.
something that you've already been done before?
Well, it was a little bit more difficult for my wife. I have the mentality, I'm like, if I'm not using it, like throw it away. Like I have a
Yeah.
very, like, I don't really celebrate my birthday, and I don't really like, when it comes to holidays and gifts and things like that, it's like, I don't want like a new like cologne or anything like that. It's like, give me a pen. Like I'll use a pen all day long. So
Mhm.
for me, it's like, it was super easy to just grab things and throw it in, throw it into eBay and just like sell it. But it was also kind of, uh say like lethargic, but it was therapeutic is the word I'm looking
Yeah.
for. So go through things and just see, are we going to need this? Are we not going to need this? And then
Mhm.
we had a huge they in Philadelphia where we lived, they had block parties every month for all the different businesses to generate income into those businesses. And they had a huge auto show, and thousands of people from all over the state go to this little auto show, and it was right on our street. So I put a big sign outside, said, we'll take Venmo, PayPal, cash, moving sale. And hundreds of people came. We made a whole bunch of money, and the things that were left over was like, we sat there and we're like, oh, maybe we're kind of glad that nobody bought this clock, we're kind of glad nobody bought this
Yeah.
elephant. And so we kept those things. But it was definitely a process of going through everything.
Nice, nice. So for the people that don't know what retail arbitrage is and how does this whole industry works, could you explain like really to a 5-year-old, how would you how would you go to, for example, a shop or something for a secondhand store and pick things and then resell them on different platforms?
Sure enough, yeah. So basically, reselling is, I'm going to buy secondhand stuff or even brand new stuff. I'm going to buy stuff at a cheaper price, and I'm going to sell it somewhere for more, whatever platform that might be. Amazon, eBay, that people are more familiar with, but there's also Facebook Marketplace. Craigslist, unfortunately, that has like a bad name because of,
Mhm.
things that have happened to people, scammers in the past, but Craigslist is still a place. Let Go, the app next door, and basically buying things for a lower price and selling it for more. It's the simple answer.
Awesome. Because here, I think that's a really important thing in the culture of the United States, because I come
Mhm.
from Guatemala and no one does that there. And here in Germany, it's not that it's not like a cultural thing, you know. For of course, if you have something laying on your house that you're not using, you put it on eBay, and we have like a small version of eBay or like something like that.
Mhm.
It's a German name, but I
Yeah.
think it's a part of eBay, and that's the website that most people use to get rid of their stuff. And there are also specific websites for secondhand clothes or something like that,
Mhm.
but mostly are women there. But I think that's a really big difference between the US and Germany, because no one is thinking, okay, let's do this for a living, for example.
Mhm. Right. Well, I think it's funny you say that too, because like I kind of think of retail arbitrage and reselling as kind of like two different things.
Mhm.
Retail arbitrage to me is like I'm going to go to Ross or Target or Walmart. I'm going to buy something and then I'm going to flip that. I'm going to sell it
Yeah.
at from one retail store to another, right? Versus reselling, like I know somebody that sells in the UK, and one of the ways that they make money is they put an ad out on one of the platforms, I forget what it's called, saying I'll buy like your used clothing and used like towels and stuff like that. And then he cut them up, hemmed them, and was selling them to mechanic shops. So
Mm.
that way he could go ahead and reuse them. They like he resold old towels, chopped them down to mechanic shops. So it's like to me, reselling can be so much more than just I'm going to buy junk and sell the junk, or
Mm.
retail arbitrage. I'm going to buy it from a retail store and sell it to another retail store. Like it's just the opportunities are like endless.
Yeah. And what's your focus at the moment? Are you are you like buying stuff and selling them, or are you like going to garage sales, or do you like really go to Walmart and then sell something on eBay? What's your like strategy and the majority of your business, so to say?
So right now, with everything going on with COVID
Mm.
and the shutdowns and the quarantines, um, I haven't been doing a lot of sourcing,
Okay.
and I think that's totally fine for me. It's okay. And before, I was going to a place called Goodwill Last Chance Auction. Basically, all the stuff that goes to the Goodwill thrift stores that stay there for 2-3 months or whatever, they put it at the Last Chance Auction. People they have pounds and pounds of clothes that you buy by the pound, and so it's like the last chance. So I was going there. I was buying a whole bunch of inventory. I was going to garage sales, every Saturday, and I was using those apps like Facebook Marketplace to buy things from just like neighbors. But I'm not really doing that anymore because of the quarantine.
Yeah.
I think sometime in February, I'm not sure why, but like I woke up one morning, I was like, I want to put all of my effort into eBay. Like I
Mm.
stopped sending things into Amazon. I stopped focusing on YouTube, unfortunately. I said, let me just put all of my effort into eBay because I feel like I was watching the news. I was like, I feel like something's going to happen. Sure enough, a couple of weeks later, they started doing the shutdown, and it was around that time that I was like, "Where's another way that I can make money? Another side hustle that I could possibly turn into full time." And so I realized that there was also probably going to be, a job crisis here in the United States, that people weren't going to be able to find a source of income, and that they're probably going to want to learn how to resell. So I started focusing on a website and monetizing that just through like affiliate marketing or ads, and um, really started putting my efforts there in helping people learn how to resell, and just kind of focusing on just the education process of
Yeah.
it. So I'm not really sourcing. I did buy some things wholesale, but
Mhm.
that's more for like long term. But I think for the most part, it's just trying to help people just
Yeah.
get through the door right now.
And how's that working for you now? Like the website, are people visiting you, like asking questions and everything?
Yeah, I think it's working out really well. I mean, like you reaching out to me is definitely like proof that like all my effort is working. You're the first podcast I've been asked to be a part of. So again, thank you so much, Juan. And TikTok, your podcast on TikTok was like spot on, but it is such a great source of organic traffic, and it's bringing in a lot of people into my website. I've been putting a lot of pins from Pinterest onto my to connect to my website. In the past, I was a journalist and I was a food writer and a blogger, so I have a lot of those skills already set in place. So between all of that, I've just like everything that I've learned over the last couple of years, I've just been, or, you know, over the last decade or so, I've just put everything into this website, and it's growing. And
Mhm.
there's a series that I've started on TikTok called What's the Deal,
Mhm.
where I get to review people's listings, people that may have just started, people that may have been a part of it for a long time. And that's also driving traffic to my website as well through, you know, through TikTok. So it's being received really well. And I'm super pumped to see like where it's going to go. It's moving faster than I can like keep up, but I mean, that's a good problem to have.
Yeah, I think that's really good when you're getting a lot of traffic and everything, and you're helping people start to like this time of business or side hustle, because it can start as a side hustle, and there's people that are doing this for a full time. You know, like they put a lot of effort and then they just buy and sell, and they already have a team and everything. It's like really like a business model. You know.
Yeah. Well, right now too is the best time to start with eBay, because they're having a lot of leniency on some of their rules and regulations. There's some of their fees aren't as expensive as they normally are too. So um, usually like if you set, like I set my handling time for one day. If I miss it because I can't get to the post office because I don't want to go outside, or maybe the post office, you know, they didn't have the proper amount of staff, so they scanned it in late, like usually you would get reprimanded for that. And right now they're not doing that. And on the flip side, for the buyer, let's say somebody buys something, they want to return it, and the buyer couldn't get to you, you know, like they have a time limit as well. Maybe the buyer couldn't get it to the post office. Like eBay's also given them more time too to return things to you. So they're really focusing on the customer and the sellers, which I'm not really sure I could say that for some of the other platforms that are available.
Mm.
But like right now is the best time because they're so lenient right now, and they want people to sell and they want people to buy.
Okay, interesting. So, for example, to someone that wants to start like selling stuff they have laying at home and they're not using, how what would be the best way to get started without a lot of cost and a lot of like knowledge? Because I understand that for to create your eBay listing, you have to pay maybe a little bit, and you have to have a little knowledge regarding the shipping and the fees and everything.
Hey,
So,
sorry, I have a dog.
don't worry.
Come here, relax. I'll just bring her over. Stay. Sorry about that. Go ahead. So where would somebody start, right?
Yeah, so how would somebody start if they don't have any knowledge and they just wanted to start making some money, but without getting into the really hard eBay stuff and everything?
The best thing is, as we were saying earlier, just go through your stuff
Mm.
and find out what you want, what you don't want. You know, decide, is this something that I need? Or, you know, where did this come from? And like, why is it stuffed in my closet? Or, you know, when was the last time I wore this jacket? Just start by picking those things up and, you know, putting them in a pile.
Mm.
And then look through those items and find out where can I sell these things. You know, if it's something that weighs, you know, I don't know, 30 pounds, you know, like let's say a microwave or something like that. Like I sold a microwave recently for $40 on an app called Nextdoor. Like I wasn't going to sell that on eBay. So also find the platform that you want to sell your stuff on. It doesn't have to be eBay. You know, whatever is you're comfortable with wherever you're from. So the
Mm.
easiest way is grab the things you want to sell, find a platform to sell on, and just start listing it.
Yeah, okay, because probably eBay is better for items that are not so heavy, right? Because they charge more shipping, or how does that work?
So yeah, so eBay has, I mean, they have international shipping as well as local shipping, and they also have like local pickup as well. So you can list, like I could have listed that microwave on eBay,
Hmm.
but I just didn't. I just figured the next door was going to be easier.
Yeah.
But you can absolutely ship heavier things because they also have a relationship not only with USPS, but they have a relationship with FedEx. So, and they give, you know, shipping through FedEx at a cheaper rate as well. So something that might cost $80 to ship, it might cost $40 to ship. So
Mm.
you can still ship those heavier items. And it's also not so much about how much the shipping costs to you. Like you can also charge the buyer the amount to ship too. Like you don't have to,
Mm.
you know, eat those costs. The buyer can do that too.
Okay. And so if you were to start, for example, selling clothes or something like that, maybe not clothes because you're already selling that on eBay, but you wanted to start selling something that you're having at home, would you do it via Amazon or eBay? Because I thought that for Amazon you have to have like a big inventory and have a lot of like, I don't know, bureaucracy and like send a lot of legal stuff and everything. But can you just like upload an item and sell it on Amazon, or it's not like that?
Yeah, you can. They do have a free store subscription. The only difference is every sale you make, there's an additional dollar cost
Okay.
versus their subscription is $40 a month. So if you're not selling more than 40 items a month, then you shouldn't really, you know, buy the subscription.
Yeah.
But I mean, you can definitely start and just start with a few things because of all of this situation that's been happening. My inventory is down to, well, now it's down to about half of what I was at for Amazon, but it was way less than half. So I
Mm.
actually downgraded my store, which was totally fine, and just started selling things fulfilled by merchants. So I had about 150 items for FBA, fulfilled by Amazon. So all of those items were at their warehouse,
Mm.
and those things were still selling too. It's like it wasn't like they dropped down, because they just disappeared. It dropped down because people were buying them. I just wasn't able to replenish that inventory.
Yeah. Okay.
So I found new inventory. I do consignment with a nonprofit in my local area, and they give me things to sell,
Mm.
uh, predominantly books. So I took those books and I listed them as if I'm going to sell them. And then right now it's only like 50 books, but they've been selling every single day. I'm making sales through those books that I had listed. So it doesn't have to be a lot. I only have 50 items for fulfilled by merchant right now on Amazon. And same thing with eBay. I'm not bringing things in, but the things that I am bringing, I'm just listing a little bit at a time. So it doesn't have to be a lot.
Okay, so what you're saying is that, for example, every item that you uploaded now to your FBM account is a
Mhm.
different item. So for people that maybe think, okay, I had to have like 20 books of the same kind, or 30
Mhm.
lamps or something like that. It's not like that. You can have
Not
it.
at all.
Yeah, go
You
ahead.
can have, I don't really have too many duplicates of the books that I sell because that's just not how it works. When you go to thrift stores or when you go to library sales and, when you go to garage sales, people at garage sales, they don't have, five of the same exact book. So, but it still has value. So you can list those one things individually. One of the biggest differences though, because I have done the retail arbitrage where I've sold, 10 of one unit or 20 of one unit. One of the biggest differences is you have to keep up with it. Like you'll have active listings and then you'll have inactive listings, and you have to make sure that you're either replenishing those or you're removing those, just to kind of keep your account healthy. Like you don't want to have 150 inactive listings on your site because like it's going to be hard to keep up with. So it does take a little bit more maintenance. But if you only have one book to sell, or one video game, or like one item, that's totally fine. It just takes a little bit more maintenance.
Okay, so if you would have like just a couple of items, it would
Mhm.
be better to go to eBay or to Amazon, just for people to want to get started. So to choose the right way.
Mhm. I think that's kind of a tough question because again, it goes to what platform do you want to sell on
Yeah,
and
yeah,
like longevity of like what you're trying to do.
yeah.
I started on eBay because I didn't really know that there was, Facebook Marketplace and Let Go and all these other things. That's where I started.
Mhm,
And it wasn't until I felt that I graduated that I could start selling on Amazon. If
mhm.
I were to start it all over, I probably wouldn't have started Amazon first. I mean, I'm glad I didn't start Amazon first, just for selling, like books and, whatever. So I think it really just depends on what that person wants in the future. If it's just a side hustle, maybe eBay's best, or maybe Facebook Marketplace is best. Like I can't really say. It just depends on the person. If you got big items, like that's going to be hard to do on eBay, versus just a simple like Craigslist or Facebook Marketplace. But if you got small items, books, things like that, eBay's a good place. And also, just to add to that, Amazon has a lot of restrictions when it comes to selling. You can't just start an Amazon store and just start selling DVDs. You can't just start selling, CDs.
Yeah, that.
Um, so, if those are the things that you're interested in selling, Amazon's not going to be the choice for you, but eBay, you can sell there all day.
Mhm.
So it just depends on the person and what they want for themselves in the future.
Okay, interesting. Yeah, because that was my question. Because Amazon seems like really corporate thing to do. Like you have to. There's a lot of terms and everything, and eBay is just like you upload an image and you list it for $20, and someone buys it, and that's it. So I
Mhm.
think eBay is a little easier maybe to get started.
Oh yeah, for sure. It's definitely a lot easier to get started. I mean, they offer 50 free listings, per month for brand new sellers, and they have a lot of forums, and they have a lot of FAQs, and just a lot of valid information and valuable information that's easy to navigate for brand new sellers. And the community too is just unbelievably nice. You can go to any social media platform, look up hashtag eBay reseller, and I bet you'll find a dozen plus people to help you like right off the bat. So I can't really say that, not that people from Amazon are bad or that their forums are bad. It's just a little bit less, for me, it was a little less streamlined when I tried to learn how to sell on Amazon
Yeah.
versus eBay.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of Amazon gurus that are trying to sell you a course or something like that. So you have to be a little more careful from who you get information, because
Mhm.
it's more, the Amazon is more like a business, and the eBay is kind of a side hustle, So you're of course gladly to help someone, just like, yeah, I'll help you, or like
Yeah.
beginner friendly, maybe. So,
Yeah. And I think too, like I've never met one reseller that, well, other than the resellers that start at like 16, 17 years old, that are like, I'm going to be a full-time reseller and I'm going to start on eBay. Like I have yet to really meet resellers like that, but I have met, you know, sellers that are like, I'm going to start an Amazon store. I'm going to quit my job and start an Amazon store. I'm going to sell wholesale, or I'm going to do, drop shipping, or I'm going to do, whatever it may be, private label. And so I think that that's kind of a difference there between the two platforms and the mindsets too.
yeah. Okay, cool. So now I have a couple of questions regarding your reselling journey. What's
Sure.
the biggest win you ever had? Like you bought something really cheap, or you just found it and you listed it and it went for $100, or like what's the biggest profit you ever had from a reseller item or something like that?
Biggest profit. Oh man, I can't even think. What the biggest profit? That's tough because I don't
Or
really think about stuff like that. I can tell you one of my most exciting ones
mhm.
that that sells for a lot. And I've had it on TikTok quite a few times. Anytime I find a Cricut machine, like a Cricut cutter machine, they like cut decals and stuff like that. I
Mhm.
love finding them. I can usually find them at a thrift store for like $5 or $10, or sometimes yard sales for like $5 or $10. And they usually sell for like $75 to $120. So anytime I see that, I'm like, boom, that's money right there.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
and sometimes you find, and the other thing too is like you can make a sale for $100, but if you bought the thing for $50, like, that's not the same as buying something for 75 cents and selling it for $60. So it kind of varies, but I love finding those quick machines because I know that's gonna sell.
Yeah. So then what I understand is that you go more for like what you know is going to sell. Like you maybe, because I saw this, I don't, maybe you saw it too, the trash talk series of Gary Vee
Oh,
just
I
going
love
to garage sale. Yeah.
that.
And I thought that, okay, maybe you did something like that, like you were to a garage sale and then you looked for stuff and then you just like said, okay, this is going to sell, and then you bought it and then you see it's like $200 or something like that, like a complete surprise. But what I get from you is that you go more like deep in the, okay, this is what sells, I'm going to just to look for this stuff. You're not just
Mhm.
like browsing garage sales, right?
Yeah, not at all. It's funny you say that. I have made a TikTok about this recently too, where I don't, it starts for me, it starts with research. What is in season? Like right now, I knew skirts were going to be in season. I knew bathing suits were going to be in season. Shorts were going to be in season, and sweaters and jackets were kind of out the door now.
Mhm.
So when I go to a thrift store, I know that I'm going to focus on just women's fashion, and I'm only going to look at shorts, skirts, and, swimsuits and, leggings or whatever's in season. I'm going to go there and I'm going to focus on that one thing. If I'm not buying books that day, I don't go look at the books. Like I don't even focus on it. I go in, focus on those things, go to the next thrift store. Sometimes I'll hit up 5 thrift stores a day, but I'm not looking at those. I'm not looking at dresses. I'm not looking at sweaters. I'm not looking at any of those things. And I know when I leave there that this is going to sell between $15 and $30. I'll make $100 faster selling, 5 dresses at $20 than finding that one item, stuffed in the corner of the thrift store that could sell for $100 3 months from now.
Okay,
So I
so
mean, that's just my method, but
so you're going more for the volume type of
Mhm.
approach, So you buy a lot of swimsuits and then you hope to make $100 out of them when you bought them for $10 or something like that.
Right. To
Yeah.
me, I'm more focused on that bread and butter just because it just seems to work better for
Mm.
me.
Yeah, I understand. So you don't have to answer, but for the listeners, how much can they expect to make an income of like every month if you're just like really focusing on reselling, like as a side hustle, not as a
Mhm.
full-time job? But how much money could someone make reselling
I
like?
mean, sky's the limit, honestly. Like it really, really depends. It's the more you list, the
Mhm.
more you make. So if you have 50 items, and let's just say every sale you make, $10, like you can kind of do the math from there. If you have 100 items, you're going to make more. Once you start getting into like 250, 500 items, that's when you really start to see like the thousands of dollars a month. I mean, from me, because I'm only selling things for 15 to like $30+. I do so often make sales. Like yesterday, I sold a dress for $40, but like those are kind of rare for me. But it's just volume. Like the more
Mhm.
you list, the more you can make. If you have 500 items, you might make $5,000 a month. If you have 200 items, you might make $3,000 a month.
Yeah.
If you
Okay.
have 2,000 items, $6,000, $8,000. I mean, it really just it varies on how much work you put into it.
Okay. So on an average, how much money do you make per month? If you want to answer, you don't have to. But like
I don't think that's fair to answer right now just because of the quarantine.
yeah, yeah, okay,
Everything has
but
dropped.
yeah, okay, you're right.
I can give you a from March. My sales skyrocketed 263%. This month they're down 26%.
Yeah, but
So it's like the numbers are they're very skewed, but you can expect, again, it depends on the person and what they're selling.
okay, yeah, I totally understand. Nice. Okay, so now I want to like pivot a little bit further to TikTok because I found you on TikTok.
Mhm.
And for the people listening, because I have a lot of people that tell me that TikTok is just for kids and you shouldn't waste your time there. I don't want to download the app, and I tell them just do it. You're going to see it's going to change your business and the way you look at things because the organic reach is amazing. So could you please tell a little bit about your TikTok journey and how you got started and everything?
Sure. Well, it started because I was running, I had my own pet care business before. So if you actually go to my TikTok, well, don't, and you go to the very, very bottom, you'll see like videos of like dogs and stuff, dogs that I used to walk and dog sit and stuff like that. And so it started with me just trying to find an audience for my pet care business and learn more about pet care. And just because I knew there was an audience there. And so this was in March of 2019. And, I watch a lot of Gary Vee. I watch a lot of other entrepreneurs, and I love social media. And as a creative, I knew that this was going to be a great place for being a creative. Sorry, my dog is just going to go do her thing. So I knew it was going to be a great place to be a creative. And I think that the organic reach there is just unbelievable. It doesn't matter. I mean, they have millions and millions and millions of users from all over the world. And for some reason, they figured out a way to get the type of videos that you want to see in front of the right audience.
Mm,
And like that's just unreal in my opinion. Other than like LinkedIn, there really hasn't been a place where like the organic traffic is just like
yeah.
at least for right now. So, and it doesn't matter what kind of creation, like you said in your podcast, you had your a marketing TikTok and 10,000 followers, and it was just like just marketing stuff. It wasn't you dancing, it wasn't you doing trending videos or whatever have you. It was just you talking about the thing that you talk about, and it's the proof is there in those numbers there.
Yeah, yeah, it's crazy because I think y- I have yeah, I did something maybe wrong because I started doing a lot of at the beginning I wanted to do like repost stuff, like I reposted trending videos, so I started so I that's how I gained a lot of followers, and then I just started to pivot to my own content. But I think also that what went wrong is that I was in Guatemala for a little while and everything, so my content got mixed because TikTok is super location based, so I got a lot of Spanish content and Spanish followers, and now when I'm here in Germany I get a lot of German viewers, but they don't
Mhm.
connect as much with the English content, so I think
Oh.
to stick to the niche you are, it's a really important thing. So maybe just like if you want to like change something that goes slowly, because if you change from one day to another, it's
Mhm.
crazy like what happens on TikTok.
It's funny you say that too, because it's been really challenging. I have so many passions when it comes to the creative.
Hmm.
Like I jumped on TikTok. I've been making videos, editing videos on my phone for over a decade now. I used to be in the music industry, and I would rap and I do poetry. And I also, for some reason, when I was in Philadelphia, I was rapping and making music around a lot of comedians. We all went to the same open mics. We all had like the same shows, or like the rapper would open for the comedian and vice versa. It was really a weird dynamic. But at that time, 10 years ago, I was using my phone, an iPhone 3, filming the comedians, editing the footage in the phone, and then selling it back to them. So
Hmm.
it's like when it came time for me to make TikToks, it was just like boom, it was so easy because like
Yeah.
I've been doing it for a really long time, and I have all these passions of the creative. And so I've been mostly focusing on reselling, but I realized like, oh, what I do like talking about blogging. I do like talking about, writing. I do like talking about, YouTube creation and, social media and stuff like that. And so my audience is kind of like, they're like, but what happened to reselling? But now you're talking about blogging. So I have all these bloggers over here too. So
Yeah.
see what you mean. Like if you super niche down, you're definitely going to have a solid following, but it's hard when you're trying to do all these different, categories all at once. So
Yeah, exactly. That's what
Mhm.
happened. What's happened to me because I used to get a lot of views, and now my views have gone down. But I stopped posting constantly because of my exams and everything. But now it's like starting to pick up again. But it's been like not at the beginning. So I was wondering if you had that problem too when you started like doing other stuff that were not reselling. But yeah.
So my approach, well, I started with like dog stuff and and then I kind of left it alone for a really long time. And then I was just like, let me document my experience back, like what I was doing with Instagram. I was like, let me just document my experience. And I just kept going. And I made 79 videos, probably deleted a dozen of them. I made 79 videos before I had 1,000 followers. And
Mm.
then I made one video that actually I had a video that blew up, had 280,000 views in like a week. And I had got no followers from it. I got a lot of hate from it actually because of
Oh.
like what the video was. And it was me cleaning a pair of shoes and showing what the comps were. People
Mm.
got so mad about it. This was like in the summer or something.
Yeah.
And so 79 videos before I got to 1,000 views. And then I made a different video that did pretty well. It still gets views to this day and still gets comments to this day. And then I went to about maybe 1,500 followers, and it stayed there for a long time. And just until a week ago, I was at 4,500 followers, and I've been at 4,500 followers for months. And just this last week, now to this day, I have a little over 7,000. So just in a week, I've gained 2,000-3,000 followers.
Yeah.
And I think it comes from super niching down. And every so often, I knew I wanted to start talking about writing again, talking about blogging. So like I'd make 5 videos about reselling, and then I'll do 1 video about blogging, and then 5 videos about reselling, 1 video about writing.
Yeah.
And so it's now that I've done that a little bit, now I kind of have a following of the 2 different types of
Mm.
audiences, I guess
Yeah.
you could
Yeah.
say.
Amazing. So I think we're just going to do a couple more questions and then we're going to wrap up. But first, how can people contact you? How can people get to know your business and your website and everything?
Absolutely. Thank you so much for asking. So my website is castanedastyles.com. And on social media, I'm either Michael A. Castaneda or Castaneda Styles. But the easiest way to find me is just castanedastyles.com. Read the blogs. You can, if you have a TikTok, you can find me through there as well. If you want like me to look at your store or look at a specific listing, I can do that too through the website. Just fill out the form. But castanedastyles.com is the best place, or somewhere on social media under Michael A. Castaneda.
Awesome. I will definitely leave all the social media handles and website
Thank
down
you.
below so you can check it out. And yeah, now I'm going to ask you the 10 last questions I ask every
Okay.
guest. So
Okay.
you just have to like answer quickly. They are super easy
Okay.
questions.
Right.
And yeah. Okay, so first of all, which are your 3 favorite business books?
3 favorite business books. I'd say Rich Dad, Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki, Walk Away Wealthy by Mark M. Tepper. And then I've been reading recently, I can't think of the title. Hold on, I have it right here. Let me just grab it real quick.
Yeah, don't worry.
The Intelligent Investor. So
Ooh,
sorry.
yeah.
Those are
Nice.
hands down top 3. I haven't finished The Intelligent Investor yet, but it's pretty solid from what I'm reading of it.
Awesome, awesome. Okay, then who's your hero or role model? Like the person you aspire to become one day, if you have one.
It's weird as you say. I have a lot of different inspirations, but there was a speech by Matthew McConaughey where he said that his inspiration was himself in 10 years.
I've seen that.
So once I heard that, I was like, man, how am I going to be 10 years from now? And I look at my past and I saw where I was 10 years ago, and I'm like, man, I've made such a big difference in my life from where I was then to where I am now. So my inspiration is who I'm going to be 5-10 years from now. As weird as that is.
Awesome. Nice. Okay, then which is the biggest lesson you've had from a failure? Like
Biggest lesson?
Yeah, yeah. For
Oh
something
man.
you didn't work out, and you said, okay, next time I definitely have to do this differently, and that changed the course of how you see things.
Yeah, no, I think the n- not being afraid to spend money
Hmm.
on health was one of the biggest lessons. My eBay store was very stagnant for a very long time. It wasn't until I decided to make the plunge to hire a virtual assistant that I saw huge gains. And I think it was about releasing some of that control and realizing that if I really wanted to grow, like it might cost a little bit of money.
Okay, nice. Okay, and then what's your biggest success so far?
The biggest success,
Hmm.
um, honestly, I would say, just taking that plunge from going, I'm going to be a full-time reseller. I don't care what people think, and
Hmm.
having my own store. Like there's a lot of people right now, unfortunately, that don't have jobs and aren't, they aren't making money right now. And luckily, because I decided to run my own stores and learn and teach myself how to sell, used goods and new goods too. I am where I am now. So I think the biggest success, honestly, is just being happy with doing what I'm doing right now and continuing to grow my stores and becoming financially free from it.
Awesome, nice. Okay, then number five. This is a funny one. What was your dream job when you were a kid? You know, like what you wanted to be when you were like 5 or 7 or 9 years old.
As odd as this is, I've always wanted to be a writer. And I think it always feels so good. My wife and I visited my grandparents recently, and they showed me like this little kid's book that I wrote
Mm.
of, his name was Mr. Underpants, and he wore his underpants like outside of his shorts or whatever, like in that TV show or whatever. And it was so ridiculous, but I've always wanted to be a writer. So it feels so good to be back writing again, blogging again, and just creating.
Awesome, nice. Okay, so what's the biggest passion that brings happiness in your life? It doesn't have to be your business or something, but maybe something outside your business that makes you really, really happy.
I love food.
Mm.
And that's why to this day, even though I was a food writer before and a food blogger, that's the reason why still in all of my social media handles, it still says total foodie.
Okay,
I love food.
nice. Okay, then if you could learn and master one new skill in the next 6 months, what would it be?
Oh man, one new skill, it would probably be uh investing in stocks, like, but knowing everything.
Yeah, yeah.
I wish I could do that like
Uh,
overnight.
the last interview I had on Sunday was with the owner of the Market Hustle. That's
Hmm.
an Instagram investing page, and he has like 100,000 followers. And also, we talked about how he got started in the stock market, investing and everything. So you can hear that podcast is in English. So it's
Oh
good.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I'll
Good
definitely continue to listen to it.
yeah. Okay. Nice. Then, where do you see yourself and your business in 10 years?
In 10 years, oh man, I was moving towards being completely hands off with my business, and I would like to continue to do that. And I definitely want to continue working on affiliate marketing and monetizing my website and growing that foundation. So I don't really know where I'm going to be in 10 years, but I know that if I continue to work hard at those things right now, then sky's the limit 10 years from now.
Awesome. Nice. Okay. Then, knowing what you know now, what would you have told your younger self when you started this business? Like one lesson that you wished you had known back then.
Focus on selling one type of thing. I think when in the beginning, and I said it in the email, I started with collecting change off of the ground
Mm.
and only change because I was walking dogs. So I just picked up change off the ground, collected $80. And with that $80, I did what we talked about earlier. I went to the corners of the thrift store. I found this one thing. Oh, this is going to sell for 30. This is going to sell for 20. And it was all over the place. And it was really hard to sell those items.
Mm.
When I decided, I'm only going to sell women's fashion. I'm not going to sell women's shoes. I'm not going to sell women's pants. And I only focused on those one things, my sales grew. So I wish the beginning reselling story started with that, focusing on one type of item. If it's toys, sell toys. If it's games, sell games.
Mm. Yeah, I think that's something that not only applies on business but in everything in life. Like young people from the millennial generation are used to, like, they are constantly bombarded with information and new
Mhm.
opportunities and everything, so they don't know which direction to look. And I had it. I tried.
Mhm.
I tried a lot of business models and everything. I tried them for like a couple of weeks and then I give up because I was young. I mean, I was like 17, 18, and I didn't know what I wanted to do, you know. But now that
Mhm.
I found like podcasting and social media marketing and consulting, I know
Mhm.
that that's what I want to do, you know.
Mhm.
And I think focusing is really important, because then instead of putting just like 25% effort here, 25% effort
Mhm.
there, you focus 100% on one thing.
Right, right. And then you see exponential growth because of that.
Yeah, it's exactly like that. Amazing. Okay, then now last question. What's your
Mhm.
best piece of advice or wisdom for someone listening to this that want to start something like you're doing?
Just list it. The more you list, the more you make, and just be patient, because it's not going to sell overnight, but it might sell 3 months from now. But if you don't list it, it's not going to sell at all.
Awesome. Okay, thank you. Well, thank you, Michael, for being here. It was a pleasure to have you. And
Thank
yeah,
you.
maybe we can do a podcast in like 6 months, and then you can tell again your story, how it's developed from this point and everything.
Absolutely. I would love that. Thank you so much for having me on here. This is awesome.
Awesome. Thank you. Well, there you have it, guys. Go follow Michael in his social media accounts and follow his website. He's going to give you great advice. And yeah, thank you for listening, and see you on the next one.